All right, welcome everyone. It is Wednesday. It is 4:30 p.m. Central Time. It's time for office hours here on the Academy. Hey there, Andrew. How are things?
Not too bad. Trying to stay warm as usual. Same answer as the last few weeks, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking out to two horses that are double blanketed and they are toasty warm, so they are happy. And now your screen froze, and I lost Andrew, I believe. That was interesting. Well, nothing like a moment of excitement on a Wednesday and all.
Got to keep
What did you
things
do?
interesting.
Kick
I
the
don't
cable
know.
under?
Yeah, I must have. We try to run a tight ship here, Johan, and every once in a while something happens right during office hours, and that's rough.
Yes, sir. All right. What news do you have for us?
All right, so let's see. Is my screen still showing?
Yep, I see a screen share. I'll be able to. I thought I was able to.
There we
How
go.
about that?
That looks good. So I've got a couple of things that are either upcoming or in progress that I've come across that looked pretty exciting to me. So this one I actually just came across here right before office hour started. Nathan McNulty had a post here on. I like how he calls it out here. What he's calling operational groups stolen fair and square from System Center dudes' operational collections, which is another fantastic solution, by the way, for your config manager shop. But basically, it looks like Nathan's putting together a PowerShell script here that will allow you to create Entra groups based on the authentication methods that they have registered, whether or not they have MFA or they're configured for passwordless, and a lot of other different things that hopefully will make your life easier in managing various groups and conditional access and that sort of thing. Really useful. So I'll post this, but he does have a GitHub link here that does take you over to the current version of the script. And of course, it's using our good friend, the Microsoft Graph SDK, with a little bit of PowerShell. So very cool stuff here. And that's super hot off the presses. Committed 16 hours ago on GitHub. Also came across this post from James Robinson. That there are some updated lapse settings that look like they're coming to Intune. So this was posted in the Intune in development page. There are a couple of exciting things that are coming here. The automatic account management. So this will allow you to configure Windows to automatically create a custom account for Lapse that Lapse is going to take control of. Today in 23H2 and earlier, that's not an option. So you have to have some way around actually creating that account automatically. And something that somebody else just mentioned to me recently, passphrases are actually showing up as an option here in the future with Lapse. So these passphrases are exactly that. If you're using Lapse today, you've probably seen that Lapse passwords are just a big complex password, bunch of symbols, letters, numbers. But we're going to be able to use passphrases soon, and I think that's going to make the feature even more usable than it already is. So very exciting to see these are going to be coming pretty soon. And the last big thing that I came across here was Morris posted, a friend of ours who does fantastic work on so many things, but many of you have probably used his driver automation tool and the driver and BIOS update script that's posted sort of as a, I don't know, what would you call it, Johan? Sort of like an addition to this that actually helps you update drivers and BIOS. Driver automation tool allows us to very easily choose make and model of a device, or OEM and model of a particular device, download the drivers, and create the packages to make them available in ConfigMgr as a standard package. A lot of great options around it. And frankly, in terms of driver management, this is one of the biggest things to have come out over the last several years in terms of how much easier it makes driver management. Long story long, he put out version 8 beta, and I wanted to call that out because anybody using this might want to go ahead and start trying out the beta release so we can start testing. And I mean, he's given so much of his own time to the community for this tool. If anybody has the chance, go ahead and download and install the beta and start to see if you're seeing any issues. There is a bit of a caveat, obviously, since it's beta. Not all of the functionality of the prior versions of the driver automation tool are in there, but he is spelling out here what is currently available. So, for example, only Acer and Dell support is available at the moment, but additional support for HP, Lenovo, and Microsoft is coming very soon. As well as it looks like he will be working on some Intune support, which is pretty exciting, as well as deployment rings and some additional UI enhancements. Also mentioned in his post here that instead of doing large releases, that he's adding functionality in sprints. So we should see a lot of Morse's intention here is to give us a lot of little releases, it seems, with this new version. I'm really looking forward to this. I did happen to install it just a little bit ago. There are a few things that just weren't working quite right as expected, but all in all, very easy to install the tool. Configured the connection to my ConfigMgr site, selected a couple of models, and then went ahead and built those packages, just like you would in the prior driver automation tool. So just nice to see the redesign that's happening here and this tool getting some more love. Yeah. Johan, I know you're a big fan of this tool as well.
Very big fan. Fantastic. Nice to see a new major release for the first time in a good while. So I'm very pleased.
Absolutely. I should also point out this enhancement, dark mode. It's fantastic. All right. So that's most of what I came across here for this week.
All right. I do have a few things I stumbled across. Let me go ahead and share my screen.
All right.
All right. Not this one. It was from earlier. But I stumbled across a blog post from Just regarding Intune and device query for multiple devices. For those of you that have that license suite from Microsoft, it's part of Advanced Analytics, part of the Intune suite, also available as a standalone add-on. There is no an option to query multiple devices. I haven't a chance to play around with this myself yet, but I'm intending to. But long story short, this apparently lit up in his tenant, and he posted some example queries down here that we can elaborate and use for this. So pretty cool to see. In one of those things we've been waiting for.
Absolutely.
Then I stumbled across a post from Jörgen Nilsson, our friend over in Sweden, about managing extensions for VS Code or Visual Studio Code. So that was a good blog post as well. Doing this through policies, of course, but yeah, pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Policies and scripts, I should say. Healthy dose of the both. I saw just before we joined today, I saw a post from the Intune support team, they announced a new blog by the either one of the engineering team members or one of the PFEs. Let's see which one that was which. No, it was from one of the program manager, Michael Niehaus. I'm not entirely sure how I pronounce that last name, but examples on how to block and remove apps on into managed devices, including Windows and phones and whatnot. So that might be a good one to read up on as well. And finally, I stumbled across Tom Lawrence, who we mentioned here a few times on Office Hours, primarily for his work with pfSense and networking, Unify, and others. He published up on GitHub his diagrams that he used on all his demos. And for those who haven't seen this, I downloaded this zip file earlier and unpacked it. If you go to drawi.com, so this is a free platform to use. And it's like Visio, but it's just online and always available and no charge to it and whatnot. So I can go ahead and open a drawing from my device. And here's the folder where I download those. And just to show an example, this was one of the drawings that were available. So nice looking, easy to work with, quite popular among networking folks to create diagrams and always have available. So highly recommend to look those up.
Yeah, Tom's got some great content. I've got a post from or a video that he posted a few days ago that's on the list to watch that I was going to mention to you. It's about the new Unify zone firewall rules.
Okay.
So looking forward to that. Little off topic from our normal stuff, but if you're in IT, Tom's a good follow.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I spent way too many hours arguing with one of my Unify Pro switches and VLAN setups. I wanted to have a combination of pfSense routers and VLANs, inter-VLAN routing in that switch, and it took me more hours than I like to admit to get that going. But finally,
you did. You got it all sorted out.
Oh yes, sir.
Awesome.
Yep. All right. Do we have any questions? That is the question.
We do. So I just saw from Jamie here asked if HP BIOS updates were working on the driver automation tool. It looks like not yet, Jamie. HP updates should be coming in soon, or HP driver and BIOS should be coming in a newer version. So we'll keep an eye out for that. I'm sure this is one of the tools that Johan and I keep a pretty close eye on. So I'm sure this will come up in office hours here quite a few times again in the future as he adds features to it. So we'll keep an eye out.
Definitely. I mean, you still have the old version around, and that one was also updated. I think didn't we mention that last week, Andrew? It was updated to version 7.2.5 to get the Windows 11.24 H2 support.
That sounds right.
Yeah. So that one still works.
Absolutely. All right. We also had a question. Can we post the URL of GitHub for the diagrams? Absolutely. All of the links that we show on here, we do post after the show.
Oh, yeah. So basically, if you go to our channel, every of these live streams that we do, if you go back to any of them and check here on the descriptions, this is where you'll find that the various links we were sharing. So usually give us the evening and we'll get to it, but they should be there.
All right. You know what, Johan? I mentioned one thing to you before office hours that I forgot to mention during my updates. Would
Okay.
you mind sharing my screen again?
Do not mind at all.
So, Workplace Ninjas U.S. conference. It's a little ways away, December 9th and 10th in Dallas, I believe. But registration opened for it this week. Um, Looks like early bird pricing is going to be about $349. But I did happen to come across that post yesterday. I'm really excited to see the Workplace Ninjas group bring a conference to the U.S. That's pretty cool. Sounds like they've got a nice setup going on.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah. All right. So Sahid's asking if we have any helpful documentation on a company portal deep dive.
The only one that comes to mind is the one from Rudy he did a little while ago.
Yes. Let's see here. I think this one is it. Let's see. Sharpe's company portal. Does that sound right to you? I'm going to add the company portal to Intune, adding it offline. So it's about the online and offline install of the company portal.
That should be it. Yeah.
Okay. So I will share this one. Yeah, our minds went to the exact same spot that Rudy had posted something about this. It even includes a Sean Bean gif. Fantastic.
Yeah, there was a follow-up to this. I can have share it on my screen here. This is kind of related, but just an example here on how to automatically launch it.
Oh, nice.
Have it available for users, and also a little bit on configuration, how to skip some of the pages there. So creative solutions, we like them.
Right. Was that a Rudy post as well?
Of course.
Yep. Excellent. I hear Kylo has something to say about the company portal as well.
He is snoring.
Oh, too funny.
Not much to say at all, in fact.
Yeah, all right. I couldn't have been further off base. So yeah, we'll post these articles, Sahid. Hopefully, these will be of some help. The one that I showed will kind of show how to make the store available, assign it to your devices, and then this one that Johan's got up, talking about the automatically launching it. Very useful resources. So Richard's asking us over on LinkedIn. They're finally looking. His organization is finally looking at starting to move over to Intune. One of the first things they'd like to test is moving baselines. We use the baseline non-compliant collections to target deployments. Any advice or warnings about this move? Oh, I think you're muted, Johan.
I think you're right. I was talking on mute there for a bit. It sounds like talking about configuration baselines, but due to the context, it sounds like it could be something else.
Yeah. If security baselines, then we've probably got a few things to say.
Yeah, so Richard, if you can clarify whether it's security baselines or configuration baselines.
I don't know how I missed this, but did you notice with the move to the settings catalog for the security baselines in Intune, you can now see them, they all show up in the configuration profiles UI in the Intune Admin Center.
No, but feel free to show if you have something up.
I do. So here, I'll show, you can go ahead and share my screen if you'd like.
Yeah, I'm on it. Yeah.
So here, this is one example. Security baselines, the new ones are settings catalog baselines. I hope the 23H2 one was, but it might be. Let's just for testing purposes call this security baseline 24H2. This super live unplanned demo, the best.
Those are the best.
So let's see. Don't need to assign it or anything because this is really just a UI change. All right, create. So here, for example, 24H2 baseline, this is going to have settings catalog policies. And if I go over to devices and configuration, if I go to Windows and configuration profiles, normally, as you've seen, Johan, this is where we're just going to have our standard configuration profiles. But now what's showing up in here are the security baselines. We also have any Defender antivirus policies, all of the account protection policies that we create in the endpoint security node. So actually, now that I'm looking, it's even more than the settings catalog. And I don't recall these actually being in this page until recently.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So actually having them in a central location is pretty useful, I think. So Richard did have a follow-up here. He was referring to config baselines, for example, their security stack verification.
All right.
So their verification checks for the installation of all the SecOps software, and if non-compliant, it puts it in a config manager collection that is targeted with the various software deployments. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so you can do a custom compliance policy in Intune that is a script. So I have one of our community members to write a script to look for 4 different applications that had to be installed, and their service had to be running this with security software. That in order for them to be compliant, that they needed those applications installed and running. Otherwise, it would flag it as non-compliant. So that's something that works quite well. I believe it was Peter van der Voorde who wrote about it. Let's see if I can find that one. Peter Customer Compliance Policy. Yeah, working with custom compliance settings. So let me see. Where did the screen go? Here. So this blog post we referenced a few times here on office hours, but this is a guide that take you through creating the script for the detection, whatever that script does, and then modify and create a matching JSON file for the settings, what they should be, and then that will force the machine to be either a compliant or non-compliant state. So very, very useful. It hasn't been around for so long in the Intune platform. I think it came, if it wasn't last year, it was like close to a year ago, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
No, it might be longer. This is from 2021. Yeah, this has been around for a bit.
Yeah, that's a good post. I just looking at it over here as well.
All right. Any other questions out there? Still have a half hour to go here, so we have plenty of time.
Jamie's asking if we have seen any issues with security agents stopping the 24H2 feature update from 23H2. He's been seeing issues with Splunk breaking upgrades.
There was one product, I forgot the name, someone flagged me for. But yes, there is. I saw a post from, I think it was Gary Block earlier today. He found 2 new safeguard holes for it, and one of those holes from, well, it's not a security product, it was for AutoCAD 2022 that didn't work correctly, and there was another product as well that I forgot that he mentioned.
SharePoint Designer 2013.
Yep. Hopefully not too widely used out there now, but you never know.
Yeah. But the AutoCAD one is a little surprising.
Quite, yeah. Did you happen to find this tweet there, Gary?
Yeah, I've actually got it up if you want to.
Yep. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, Gary Block maintains a community database of all the different blockers, safeguard holes that exist on the various Windows versions. Really useful when you're trying to figure out why things are not working and when an upgrade is not being offered, or stuff like that.
Yeah, and here's the direct link to that GitHub repo. Have we looked at any 24H2 system readiness checks via task sequence?
Only, the built-in one for sure, but also some custom scripts. So not specific for 24H2. Use the same scripts as we use for basically all Windows 11 versions. But I can open up one. I can take a look. If I jump over to one of the upgrade sequences that I have.
Got a couple there.
A few. This is one I use for pre-caching and validation, but these are the ready, the built-in actions in ConfigMgr for readiness in the sequence itself. And then you have the ability to launch the upgrade without doing the upgrade. So it will force a setup to run the full compatibility scan, but it actually doesn't start it. It just gives you happiness or failure back to you that you can take action upon. So
this step, if you're doing a Windows 11 IPU, this is what will actually check CPU and TPM and all that.
Oh yeah, it runs. It starts setup, but just starts it with different command line options. So that works.
I actually had this question yesterday, and I thought the answer was yes, but maybe you can correct me live if I was wrong. If you don't have that assessment check there, and you run an in-place upgrade sequence, setup itself is still going to inevitably do that check and fail if you're running, let's say, a device that has an 8th gen processor or a 7th gen processor or something.
Yeah, if it runs to a blocker that basically throws a block for the upgrade, yes, it's going to abort. It's going to roll back the device.
But if you do a bare metal sequence, it will by default just install fine.
Oh yeah, the bare metal deployments with ConfigMgr, they like pretty much every single deployment solution out there, they never run setup. They shouldn't run setup. They just take the WIM file and smacks it to the hard drive and reboots. So number of checks there are none, pretty much.
Well, then you should be proud. That was how I explained it.
Very proud. Yeah.
Excellent. I know. No, that's great. I mean, so in when you're running a step like this, it's gonna allow it to fail faster.
Yeah, but you can, when you deploy this one, that's the beauty part. You can tell it to shut up. So if I go to deployment settings on this one and the user experience, I purposely did not show progress. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to validate system without necessarily telling the users I'm doing much. So that works.
Excellent. All right. Oh, Jamie says, I think this is a follow-up to that question. That option is grayed out with the feature update.
So if you use a... All right, I think I know what he refers to. Let me see if that's the case. So if I take the assessment and I pick, instead of using an upgrade package, and I pick this one here and find something, see what I have available. Yeah, that option is not available. So obviously use an upgrade package. Might be possible to tweak it. I just haven't tried when using this. Because it does support command line variables that you can specify. So when setup does kick in, it uses them. This one should also honor the setup config file. And in that one, you can also provide command line parameters. So if you have a script that does generate a config file, this one you can change to scan only, because that is the switch to setup. So that might work. Basically doing something like this. And of course place this in a file and the location it's supposed to be in. So if you look at the script that I had here, this will be the location for it. So that's something you can try. I haven't tried it with an upgrade. A feature update. I only used the compat scan with to say real content, an upgrade package.
All right. Useful stuff. All right. I was just reading a comment here from Amir that I'm excited to read, because I know he's been wrestling with this for a while now. So I've been working with MS support for almost 2 months on a web sign-in issue introduced with 24H2. They finally acknowledged it as a known internally documented issue, now fixed in the latest cumulative update. It is fantastic.
That is good. Speaking of that update, it's been It's been 8 days since Patch Tuesday.
Yeah.
They usually release new media after 7 days. I wonder if they have done that.
Oh, that's right. And I think you looked yesterday and it still wasn't there.
Well, we can check. It doesn't hurt anyone.
No, not at all.
Is my screen still showing?
Yes, it is.
All right, beautiful. Yes. Yes.
Hey.
Published, yes, yesterday. Later yesterday, apparently.
Yeah. Guess we just added something to our lists for this evening.
Yeah, download a few media.
Yeah.
Let's see if 24H2 is available also. Oh, yeah, Feb 25. This one here. Also
So
published yesterday.
if you unselect the 24H2, let's see if
I saw 23H2 showing up.
Yeah, but the 23H2 consumer media isn't updated yet. But the 24H2, see those? Interesting. Well, to be fair,
it is. They just didn't show it, and it didn't show up latest in the list.
All right.
There's some weird sorting going on, but I obviously don't need that media anyway. But
no, totally.
if I resort it, it still comes back and says, and now it changes the date. They messed up the sorting a little bit here.
Yeah. Or maybe they're, well, no, that was yesterday, so whatever. it's there.
Yeah, it's there.
All right. Amir is also asking. So he's tried Michael Niehaus's update script, which installs all available updates. It worked, but missed the needed cumulative update. Running it again as a user, it did pick up the CU. Have we experienced this, or have a more efficient solution?
Can't say I have. I thought Niehaus was just leveraging one of the PowerShell modules from PowerShell Gallery. So no, I haven't tried.
No, I haven't either. All right. Oh, just to follow up, the focus has shifted to applying this cumulative update to new OEM laptops lacking it. Directly installing the KB via device script during autopilot failed, though it worked manually.
Yeah, that I have seen some issues with, even though Niehaus had a post up here. That he updated last summer. This one too. So I'm assuming that's the script that's being referred to. Of course, Gary chimed in also. Yeah, he did post an updated script here. I'm assuming that's the one that is referred to here in the question. The package that runs it, that script. So basically a Win32 after being run as part of the ESP page. Now, it will be interesting to see because Microsoft, we talked about this last week. They did announce that updates are coming back. Cumulative updates are coming back to Autopilot. Do you happen to have that link somewhere?
I am trying to look it up right now. So it's going to ask the same thing. Meant to grab it yesterday when we talked about it. Let's see. Yeah, because I wonder if it had Did I have a date on it?
No, I don't think so. Just one of these upcoming stuff. this must be this one here. Let me see. Rudy posted about it, and now they're bringing it back, but this time with a policy that allow for controlling it. Let's see. There was a post related to it also.
Oh, okay. And I finally found the Microsoft post too.
All right, we have it up.
I do. Mid 2025.
Okay. Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's a big problem. You buy updates or something. No, you don't buy updates. You buy machines from a vendor, and you get a device that's been on the shelf for 3 months. So basically, until updates come down from Intune, you have a device that is at risk for a good few hours, in theory. And it could be even worse because that could be handed out to a user that powers that device on like Starbucks or something, where maybe not the most secure environment to have an unpatched machine on, or whatever you power it on. And it's just been one of those days. I was doing a demo earlier today. Instead of the username, I typed in the password for my Intune admin account on recording. Oh, yeah. So I was prompted to do a password change all of a sudden.
Yes, that will happen. Yeah, it'd be exciting to see this roll out and do some testing around this process for sure. Okay, yeah, just a couple of follow-ups. I don't know that it changes much of what we've said, but just Amir following up that the direct KB download was tried first as system during autopilot. Then Michael's script was tried the same way. Neither worked for the CU when it ran in the system context. All right. We've got a question here. It's a great question and a challenge that a lot of folks come across. How would you migrate users from an SCCM environment to a purely Intune environment when you need to deal with network authentication?
Take that one time and slowly. How to migrate users
from an SCCM environment to a purely Intune environment when you need to deal with network authentication.
I'm assuming this is about migrating the devices. Even though it says users.
Yeah. And is this Wi-Fi radius?
Could be.
Or is it just wired 802.1x?
I mean, ConfigMgr machines are typically joined to the domain. And if you go in cloud native, that typically means they are not going to Active Directory domain anymore. And those devices have to be re-imaged. But there are plenty of solutions out there that supports imaging and still 802.1x. One of the companies I work with, they have a mechanism at PixieBoot that basically the PixieBoot process talks to a web service. And that web service opens up that port after validating that machine is allowed to be deployed. It looks it up in ConfigMgr and a few other places, and then basically tell the switch to go ahead and whitelist that port for, I think it's a minute and a half or something like that. So it can start off the deployment process and eventually leave it there for a few hours so it can finish up and get the policies down. For Enter ID only devices, that's going to be more challenging. But there still need to be, the policies need to come down with it.
swear I just saw something yesterday. I don't know. I'm trying to find it. Either there was a post that there's going to be a blog post coming up, or a blog post was actually posted, and it was around dealing with radius auth on Intune cloud native devices using Cloud PKI. That I'm trying to find. Either that or I dreamt it all up.
Where is Richard when you need him?
Right?
I mean, Oliver has an older one. If it's Wi-Fi, that is the topic of. I can share it on my screen here. So this one.
Oh, nice.
And there were some other examples also, but it's not something I have played around with. I wonder if that is just through their service. I know they're selling it as a cloud service.
Mm-hmm.
Glicania, where Oliver happened to work.
Oh, okay.
That could be that it actually has a dependency on this one there. Yeah, it's a challenge for sure. Absolutely.
All right. Any complete PowerShell scripts for upgrading a device from Windows 10 to 11 without user intervention? Have a PowerShell script that works directly on a device but would not come down from Intune to the device. Any ideas on that?
So have a script that won't come down. Is that the question?
Yes. Sounds like it with the follow-up there. Well, I guess I shouldn't say yes, but Sahid, if that is the question, if you could confirm, that would be great.
I mean, I actually had a discussion with John Markham, one of the MVPs, just the other day. They were using a PowerShell script to allow feature update to kick in quicker on devices. So it was a script that basically downloaded the content and ran setup in the script rather than having the feature update feature in Intune doing that. They weren't too worried about bandwidth or anything like that, so they just downloaded all the content and ran it. I mean, setup is setup. It doesn't really care too much which process that launches it, as long as that process has permissions enough. A remediation script will run a system, so. Or an app for that matter. But no, I haven't published any examples on that one. Probably should, but I haven't. Maybe I can twist John's arm and make it publicly available. I know he shared something on Twitter recently. Just the 4-liner they were using. See if I can find that one. I'm not finding it now, searching through a good chunk of tweets. Might have been a reply.
Yeah, I'm trying to take a look here too. I think I found it. It was a reply to you. Is that the downloading the content of the ISO in a Win32 app and starting setup?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yep. Found it.
You have it up?
I do.
All right. Yeah. That's easy enough. Oh, this one is actually using the installation assistant. It doesn't run setup. That was an interesting aspect of it. That one I've seen a few scripts to launch. If you search GitHub for that particular exe, you'll find a good examples or a few examples.
All right. I'll make sure that this gets posted this evening as well.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right. Is there a script that would automatically install updates that have been made available to machines through ConfigMgr?
Not that I've seen. I mean, you can have a WMI script that triggers, software update deployment cycle, and that obviously will tell the machine to install them more quickly, unless there is a maintenance window preventing it. Mm. Otherwise, you have to basically run a script that tries to find those updates somehow and install them. But no, I have not seen it.
All right. And how about a question here on deploying O365 applications? Is there a way to have an evergreen Office 365 application in ConfigMgr?
Well, in a way, I mean, you can leverage the same techniques as you use in Intune, where you basically download the latest version every single time. Mm-hmm. So that will cause it to be evergreen. Otherwise, you will have to schedule something that runs and creates apps in ConfigMgr with the content, which is doable. You can script that.
Yeah, just call setup.exe/download, I think, to get all the contents down.
Yeah, you have an XML file that does download only. Actually, it doesn't do the setup.
Yep.
And then it puts that in a package and updated EP for it, and then you have an evergreen content. So that should be doable. Might be someone out there already done it. I don't know. Haven't seen it, but sounds doable.
All right. And then any creative ways to slowly roll out a feature update profile. No optional settings due to GCC, no auto patch. Maybe create groups with a certain percentage or number of devices. So the reference to GCC and auto patch, I assume, Intune.
Yeah, that sounds Intune.
I mean, in theory, if you just wanted to do a straight percentage or number of devices, simple PowerShell script, I think, gather your devices, create a certain number of Entra groups, and do a little bit of math within that PowerShell script to add to each one of those groups. Might be it's one way that comes to mind.
Yeah, no, that works. Script the creation of groups, script adding the devices to them, and assign the feature update to them, and put in different policies, different start dates or deferral dates for that matter also.
Mm-hmm.
Should be doable.
It's another thing I've learned from you in the systems management world. There are very few things that can't be solved with a healthy dose of PowerShell.
That's true. That's true.
Let's just make sure we don't have any other questions that we've missed. I think not, but heck, a lot of great questions today, as always, that have generated some additional links for us this evening.
Yep, sounds good. Well, this is an older script, but the concept, I think, is applicable.
Oh, what'd you find?
This post.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the only challenge is I was scrolling down in the post here. They mentioned the MS Graph module. No, it is updated. No, that should be okay.
Looked like the post was from July, so still fairly new or fairly recent.
Yeah. Yeah, heck, why not? Something to try. But
Yeah,
do it
nice
for
find.
feature update rings instead of regular update rings. Poor man's auto patch.
Hey, if it works.
If it works, yeah. All right. Any other questions? We still have a whole minute. Disposal.
Let me just check one more time here. I think we got everything.
Yeah, we had a good chunk of good questions today.
Oh, yeah,
Today too, I should say.
absolutely.
No, I don't believe we missed any. And I don't see any new questions coming in either. So that being said, thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for the great questions and comments and interaction. We absolutely love that. Stay warm out there if possible. And Andrew, thanks for joining.
Thank you as well, Johan. Have a great rest of your week, everybody.
All right.